Alrighty then, welcome back to Universe X, and today we're going to actually go with our second iteration of the Rogue series. And for this, I just want to bring the community together, bring people onto the channel, show off their deck list, talk about what makes their deck tick, what they like about it, just give a foundation for people that maybe want to use the same leaders, use the same techs, and just generally just blend information in a good way. So, for this week, I've actually got one of the subs, Mr. Cedric. Like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody. I'm just a guy who plays DBS for fun and loves his leaders. Nothing too special about me.
I feel like that's all of us, and I definitely respect that. So today, we're gonna go into his Towa deck. It's actually pretty spicy. I like looking it over. And I think you guys are gonna have some fun looking at this or potentially playing it if you dig the vibe. But right before we get into that, gotta do the normal spiel, the normal YouTube plug, because we're getting kind of close to 400 subs, and I actually want to do something special when we hit that. But if you like the content, think about subscribing. I've got the Discord link in the description, and you'll be able to join the Discord, talk. It's a budding, tiny community, kind of almost like a cultish community because there's not too many people in it, but we're growing that. And if you want to be featured on a future episode of, Rogue series, just join the Discord, pitch me the invite, and we'll take a look at the deck. Past that, if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, it is the largest forum for this game that actually exists. And you really get to go there for pretty much anything. Discussions, memes, the occasional roasting, tournament reports. Lots of content creators are plugged there, so you get to see everybody putting out their stuff as soon as possible. You even get spoilers there because Bandai's dishing those out too now. So I would look at that link in the description too. So without further ado, we're gonna skip forward and hit up the screen cap for what we're about to do. So yeah, take a look at this. Alrighty then, so as you can see, we've got the Towa leader from the anniversary box, and you can see where the sideboard is separated from the main deck. We've got a lot of spice here, and I am excited to see what we're gonna get into. So, if you could tell us a little bit about the leader and the main focus of this deck, sir.
Okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So, Towa, as you mentioned, she was out of the first anniversary box. She had the polar from the packs, much like the Majin Buu leader from this past anniversary box. The main idea of the deck is she's a hand destruction deck. She kind of does it like she kind of chips away at the hand and then has a big turn where she could potentially rip 3 to 4 cards in one go. So she's not as aggressive as Android 13 is with its hand control. Not as, I guess, consistent as a green Frieza or any green deck that wants to shove the Ribriands in, or the BB4 Zamasu. But different about her is she sends them to warp for the most part. So a little harder to get them back and for your opponent to have interaction with. That's what the leader does. Activate main, burst 3. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You choose a Mirror or Fu, add it to your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. As you can see in the list, there are mostly Mirror targets. A couple of Fu targets. Might add a couple more, but I think half the deck is searchable through that effect, so helps consistency a ton. Her awakening, a little different. So this was kind of when typically it would be 4 life awakens, but and she came out. So her awaken is when you have 10 or more black cards in your warp. Draw a card, choose an energy, switch it active over, and flip her over. So back when she came out, this was a very rare kind of leader where it wasn't dependent on life. And her backside, activate main once per turn. Choose 3 black cards, that's important for later when we get into the list, in your warp and place them in your drop area. And you choose up to 1 of your mirrors and you give it critical a turn. So again, a lot of mirrors in the deck. So tons of targets to give critical to, and for a hand destruction deck, if your leader hands one of your battle cards critical, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, activate battle. At the time, this was an amazing ability. Now, with the introduction of unisons, it hasn't aged too well, but it's still pretty handy. So activate battle once per turn for 1 energy. Choose 1 card in your hand, place it in the drop, and choose up to one keyword skill on an opponent's battle card and negate it for the turn. So this helps her survivability. Opponent tries to finish you with a triple strike, and you have an open energy. No, dog, it's just 1. You want to move barrier, you can. Then you can warp the target later with foo or something, or get rid of it, or take control of it with a couple of cards in the deck. Again, hasn't aged too well now, but still comes in handy. Sell Xeno. No, I'm only taking 1. You're only dealing 2 damage to me potentially instead of 8. So that is the leader. Still good. I think she's still like a scratching at 1.5. A little bit, like, done some testing recently, and I think she's still a solid hand destruction leader.
I mean, that's actually clean. I can see why like people like you and Jordan like that leader. That's a lot of versatility on the leader itself for just 1 energy.
Saved my butt a lot of times.
All right, so let's open up about this deck list. I'm gonna say before anything starts off, you got the homie at 4. Like, y'all know, if y'all don't know how I feel about Gohan, actually, you know what, like, I think at the end of this video, just like peep it. I'm gonna put the picture of the shrine I made before TOP Gohan came out. It was like actual cash money at the time. I'll show you this in Discord after we're done recording, but I feel for the mans. You can see him in my backdrop on the shelf in multiple places. It is what it is. But tell us about your deck list, sir.
Okay. So I'll start with the unison. I'll just go left to right, main deck, side deck. So Gohan, SS4 Gohan, Beyond the Ultimate. This guy, when I first brought the deck back, I was actually using the SS4 Vegeta unison. Felt like at the time he kind of bolstered the deck's idea of hand destruction, because during your turn, if your opponent played the battle card, they'd have to discard 1, and also for 4 black energy, you could just warp a life. So at first I was like, oh wow, Vegeta's gonna be great. But after some testing, and I also talked with Rob from Team Stage Zero, and I have been talking about it, and he liked Gohan. So what Gohan does is auto once per turn. When you activate an overwhelm, you add a marker. Easy, nice organic way to get markers. And his +1. Place up to 2 black battle cards from your warp to your drop. Obviously, Towa's an overwhelm deck, so facilitating overwhelm, those extra cards do count. Those extra black cards in there do count. Also make it more consistent too. You can overwhelm bodies like the Miras and the Trunks and whatnot. And his -3, add up to 2 black battle cards with powers between 20,000 and 30,000 from your warp to your hand. And this card gets 15,000 power and dual attack for the turn. So again, just adds more consistency. You warp pieces that you now need later in the game. Okay, -3. Even if Gohan has 3 markers and you just need to get those pieces back, you can just -3 him. Sure, he doesn't get, you don't get the pressure with him, but simply pulling things back like Mirror Self-Reformation, Mirror Creator Absorb, Assault from the Skies, the Secret ID Mass saying if I need a board wipe. Most of the deck can be grabbed back with Gohan's ultimate. So, and at the time, I also had Majin Buu, Wickedness Incarnate in the deck. So obviously, just loop that back. Not only with Towa's ability to put 3 black cards back, but his also. So my hand would be quite healthy. I'm just trying this different take right now, which is why you don't see Boo in the main deck. I'm just trying something at this moment. So that's the Unison. You want me to just keep going with the entire deck?
Well, I mean, you can just put up, because some of these things are self-explanatory. People know Power Burst, people know the robot, but I mean, there are a couple cards on here that people might have to be a little spicier for, and everybody's going to want to hear you talk about why you chose to include the secret rare you specifically chose to include.
Okay, all right, so I'll just keep going. I'll skip over the easy stuff. So not even a scratch. Black's version of an ape. Negate the attack. Set it from warp to drop. Draw one card. Again, doesn't really work with Gohan because Gohan only puts battle cards back, but Towa puts black cards back. So battle cards, extra cards, unisons, whatever. So obviously you do the scratch loop because Towa's big problem has always been hand size. Back when she came out, most if not all Towa players played Vegeta Time Regulator. That got up to like a $70 card when he came out to help with the hand size. But now you just have scratch and you have an extra negate that helps you survive, get you to your big power spike turn. Isekai, we all know what he does. He's mostly in the deck. I can put Mira's back because you want your 7-drop Miras in the deck. You don't want them in your hand. If you need to do like one quick damage, but generally you want them in deck so you can play them with 5-drop self-reformation. So he's mostly there. If I draw into too many mirrors, I can put him back in deck, draw 2 new cards, and if they decide like Trunks Heroic Prospect or Topo Me or use Green Frieza counterplay, any battle cards 20k or less, they have to warp 2 cards. So it goes hand in hand with the strategy. Petrification. I don't see this in a lot of black decks. I like it in Towa. Again, it helps her survive. Your opponent miss sequences and, use their big battle card open. You can just Petrification, discard a card, choose that card ignoring barrier, so it hits anything. That card can't attack, can't be comboed with, and it can't activate skills. So it pretty much just sits there and just helps Towa survive. Yeah, nice little tech card. This is actually what replaced Majin Buu's, because I wanted more negates in the deck so I could get to turn 3 faster. Power Burst, we all know what it does. Towa, Space Time Unleashed, pretty simple. She's a target for Union Absorb. Plus, she also digs 7 for a Mira or Mass Saiyan, which you can see I run a couple in the main deck. Just top 7 Mira, Mass Saiyan, added to hand. Another Towa target, Twisted Sister, counterplay, player, draw a card, take one of your opponent's battle cards and put it back in their deck. Again, helps with all the drop area interaction we have. Raw Apes, Brians, messes up sparking, which I've done a couple times. If they have exactly 5 in the drop, well, all right, play this, put one of your cards back, and now you don't have sparking. No sparking. Sparking, shocking, death ball. Just little plays like that. Super combo. I see a lot of people say that Vegeta, new Vegeta from this set, that's the super combo that Black should be playing. I still play this leader where I want to awaken with as much life as possible. This is a turn 1 super combo. 10k, draw a card, turn 1, pretty consistently. So for now, I have it. I still use it. I definitely see merits to Vegeta, and there were some games where I get knocked down pretty quickly, 8 to 4, especially with how aggressive the meta is right now. Rob was actually saying that he plays Vegeta for that reason, but so far Kai's been fine for me. Definitely open to it. We'll see what happens when I test more. Excuse me. Next card, Rebellion Hammer, counterplay for Black. Finally, Black got one.
After 8,000 years.
Yeah, I know, right? Never had any interaction for the longest time, but Counterplay 2, opponent plays a battle card 4 or less, goes to the drop area instead. Don't know why it's not the warp, but c'est la vie. As a permanent, if you have 12 or more black cards in your warp, it becomes a 1 cost. That's pretty good. 1 energy to potentially shut down a 4 energy play. So that's a nice exchange in your favor. This is basically an Overwhelm. This is for Overwhelm decks though. Like, tried this in Dark Broly. Doesn't really work. I know, Chris, we were talking earlier. You said you tried it in Dark Broly, right?
I wanted to. Good plays prevented me from going through with that.
Yeah, but Towa, Demigra, Xeno Goku, if you're into that, this is a nice counter. This is a nice counterplay. Now I think what I'll do is I'll just go right to the Mirror Chain. So, Mirror Faithful Servant. We got this in set 10. It's 2-drop. If you don't have any battle cards in play it for free. It's a nice free play. If your board's empty, which in an Overwhelm deck, mostly going to be empty because your cards always leave at the end of the turn. And here is what changed the deck. 3 energy, choose 1 mirror card with an energy cost of 5, original energy cost of 5 in your hand, and play it on top of this card. So back when Towa first came out and when she had her tops, you always had to wait till turn 4 to play the big mirror. Play it, bacon, untap, go into the 7-drop. Now we can do that chain an entire turn earlier, which for this deck is huge. That's 1 less turn you need to worry about. That's 1 less turn that your opponent needs to worry about, because now you can potentially rip the 5 cards out of their hand on turn 3 as opposed to turn 4, which for some decks is backbreaking. So this was a great card, great support. I love this card. Immediately bought 4 foils. The full art's looking great.
Savage.
Tell you, man, I've been playing that for a long time. So Mirror Faithful Servant, great card, helps the deck so much. And if they want to counterplay it, okay, you just spent energy when I didn't have to, or now you can't counter for the turn, and I didn't really lose anything except a card out of my hand, where I could just play another one. There's no once per turn on it. So I've definitely got some people with that, where they trunks it back to my hand. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it again. Nice, now it's safe. So we'll go right to the 5-drop Self-Reformation and Explosion of Energy. I run a 4-2 split. Obviously, Mirror Self-Reformation, that's the one you want to play, because that allows you to get the 7-drop from the deck and begin to shred the hand. So Mirror Self-Reformation, Double Strike, Union Absorb, it's a 5-drop. Has Deflect, which is huge. So my testing has done pretty good against blue decks, just because my 2 boss monsters have Deflect, so I don't have to worry about trunks. To that. Green, a little tougher, because Frieza has the counterplay timing, but it's an auto. The mirrors don't have barrier. So it's a little tougher, but other than that, I have no worries when I go up against blue. Deflect, permanent. If you have 10 or more black cards in your warp, he becomes a 4-drop. So if you have to, after you play the first one, second one, pay 4, go into it again. Double Strike, pretty good. Leader backside, you can hand it critical. If you play it, awaken, 3 black cards back, you can give this mirror critical, put some pressure on, because big mirror comes in active mode when you activate Union Absorb, so you can swing with him, pressure, then do Union Absorb. Now you have big boy Mira back standing up, ready to hit you for infinite damage. Now the other Mira, Explosion of Energy, this is one where it has barrier. So, in matchup, I can go into this guy instead. I still go into Creator Absorb, of course, but if I need another way, or if their hand is kind of getting small already, and I just want a crit body that sticks, I can just play Explosion of Energy. Plus, he's also a negate, so his autos, when he's played, Opponent discards 2 cards from their hand, sends it to their warp, so it's a little smaller than what the big mirror can do. Auto, you choose 2 cards in your hand, you send them to the warp. One of your opponent's cards attacks, negate the attack, negate the skill for a turn. So he's also defense. I don't use the second auto as much because it's a -2 for me, but you know, if I'm in a pinch, it's a walking negate a stick. So that is really good too. He came out in set 10, so Faithful Servant and Explosion of Energy came out in set 10. Self-Reformation came out in the same anniversary box that Towa was in. But now we go into the 7-drops. I run 2 7-drops. Mirror, Create, Absorb, we all know what it does. Things for Infinite. Deflect, again, don't have to worry about blue matchups. And in Towa, it gets double strike for the turn. You can hand it critical after. So it's a big, infinite, double strike crit. It's 5k for every card in your warp. Pretty easy. Assault from the Skies. Overwhelm 7 for 1. It's basically like a better Scientist Fu. Yeah, you don't draw 2, but you untap 1 at the end of the turn. So you play the card, draw 1, and then at the start of your opponent's next main phase, you switch an energy to active mode. There are times, since it's a 7-drop, if I know I don't have big Creator Absorbed in deck, I'll put this on top of a mirror because it's a 7-drop that I can grab with Self-Reformation. Times bursting is just like that. You know, you burst all your mirrors away, or you draw into them. It happened to me. It's a shame. It's a nice plan B. Try and put in a second one in because again, it's also a good closer.
I respect that.
Yeah, and even no Dark Broly plays it, or when I played Dark Broly, I had a couple in my deck. It's another 30.
I definitely toyed around with 2. It's a good card.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. So that's the mirror chain. Let's see, where are we? Let's go back up to the second row. Trunks Time Regulator. You just draw 2, warp 1. This is how you can get Supreme Kai Super Combo to be live turn 1. You burst 3, play Trunks, draw 2, send 1 card to your warp, and then at the end of the turn he goes to the warp. So there, boom, you have 5 cards warp. Supreme Kai is live for 10k and a draw. Relentless Destruction Mira, pretty simple. Play them, your opponent discards a card. This is like ideally your plays for like the first 2 turns. Just kind of chip away at their hand. They have battle cards in rest mode, swing on them. Or unisons rather, also. Just swing, nice 15k body. Usually take a marker off of most unisons in the game, except for the few 20ks that we have. But pressure piece. Mirror from the Darkness, free crit body. I feel like putting pressure on early. Nice crit pressure. Really all he's there for. If anything, he's the most cuttable card in the deck because I do Relentless Destruction or From the Darkness. They're losing a card, but Relentless Destruction is easier to pull off turn 1 since he's Overwhelm 3. And this one's Overwhelm 4. Now, the other Towa target, this one, Umbral Invitation Towa. When Towa first came out, this was the main Towa that people would play. Dark Overwhelm for 1, so it's going to stick around. It's not going to leave the board at the end of the turn. But when you play her, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards 3 or less, and you gain control of it. The reason why I added this to the main is because of Red Broly. So, if they leave their swap pieces on board, whether it's the Kid Broly, the TP Broly, or the Broly Bonafide Saiyan, I can disrupt them by taking it. Now they have to invest in the chain. Granted, it's only 1 energy. Why it's only 1 energy to go from 1 to 3, but I digress. So she's there just to disrupt Broly or any others, like in the Gotenks matchup, if they leave their Gokuls on the board, can take that. Blue Baby can take like their servants in case they want to cycle with them, just to disrupt them, even if I can't restand them. She's just a nice disruption piece, and I know there's the one from the Heroes and Villains expansion, Time Ruler, that's free, but she only takes 2 or less, so not as many targets. Plus, she doesn't stick around at the end of the turn. So I've liked her in testing against those decks. She helps. Worst comes to worst, she's just an absorb target.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Dimensional Banisher Fu, he's spot removal, searchable spot removal, which is nice. And now Mass Saiyan Brainwash No More. When I saw this card, I immediately thought of like all black decks. This card, in my mind, was what black needed to survive. That and Bardock the Tenacious. Like both of those cards just helps the deck out so much. You know, opponent goes in for a kill shot. They think they're gonna win, whether it's Cell Xeno, whether it's Apex of Power, Victory Strike, you know, whatever, because back when Towa came out, Victory Strike decks, you know, didn't care, you know, if she needed cards in the warp. Like, I've seen people get hit with Victory Strike at 8 life, and it's major feels bad back then. But now, defense. Also, worst comes to worst, he's overwhelmed. I put cards back in the drop if I have to. But his main ability is your card's black, and you discard this card from your hand, you crit a life, you don't take damage for the battle. Only run it as a one of. I put another one on the side, but again, Dark Broly plays this. You know this card. I've seen your deck profiles. You've had like more of this in the main.
It's truth. It's definitely truth.
It's a great card. I love it. Bardock the Tenacious, the Black Nimbus, you overwhelm it for 1. Big 25k beater. The next turn, they can only swing with battle cards once. Again, helps with surviving. Towa has to get to turn 3 in order to pop off. You don't get to turn 3, you're in trouble. Doesn't have ramp. Not cool if it did, but it doesn't. So have to get to turn 3. That's why I added. That's why he's at 3. He's at 3, and I run 8 negates in the deck. Want to make sure I can get to turn 3.
We feel it.
And what's nice is not even a scratch turns into draws that I can just loop back and forth if I have extra energy. Then Secret Identity Mass Saiyan, just your standard board wipe. Run for free. Gets rid of tokens. Gets rid of a Booney. In a pinch, gets rid of a Red Broly if you need it. Gets rid of a Go Tanks. I'm actually considering that Champ Pack card. Fully Unleashed. It's the free overwhelm for 5, 25k. Warps, I think 6 or more. Warps all of them.
Oh, that Bardock, yes. That guy's a monster. Like and its art actually is cool. I'm glad it's finally usable.
Yeah, it's coming. There was another point. I think when Green Broly was a thing, he was in a lot of side decks for the Green Broly matchup, but now Go Tanks, Red Broly, all these big boys. Sin Shenron too. You know, get rid of the 9-drop. You knew that. Oh, he's there. 2 Fu, 1 Mass Saiyan, and then if you look in the side, I have 2 Secret ID and 1 Dimensional Banisher Fu, depending on the matchup. If I need I'm going against the go wide strat, take out Dimensional Banishers, put the Mass Saiyans in. If it's a go tall one, take out Mass Saiyan, add another Fu.
Yeah.
Now we're at the secret rare. You said you had were interested in why I play Vegeta.
Oh yeah, I just want to know.
So, reason why I play him is because I was thinking about secret rares, and in my honest opinion, you don't need this. I just wanted to try and fit in the secret rare, especially when like you're bursting all the time. Like odds are you burst it, but you know if I keep it in my opening hand, if I have it in my opening hand, I keep it. I tried Black Smoke. Black Smoke, same situation, but the problem with Black Smoke is he's an activate main. So even if I play him for 5, Blue doesn't have Trunks, I have Frieza, and I won't have a chance to activate it. Odds are, even in Blue, if someone sees me tap 5 energy, it just immediately chunks it, unless it has deflect.
That's definitely fair.
Always a field's bad. You burst it. It's like, oh, okay, well now I don't have it. Exmo's great. Like, you know, I think one of his effects is you warp 4 cards. Like, it's perfect for Towa, but just too open to counterplay. So Gogeta, what he does is he activates from the hand. So even if they trunks it, that activate main still goes off, no matter what. You can't freeze it because it's a 10 drop. You're not reducing the cost. Red, there's not much they're gonna do about it. And yellow, sure, they can rest it, but that attack's still happening. That effect rather is still happening. So activate main for 5 if all your energy is the same color. You draw 2 cards, so it helps Towa's hand size problem. You switch up the 2 of your energy to active mode. You have defense. Your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hands and warps them. So Towa does. And they choose 2 of their battle cards and send them to the warp as well. So does a little bit of everything. Lends to her strategy, and he's a big 45k triple striker that can't be removed by your opponent's skills. Now, obviously the downside is I can't play battle cards anymore as soon as he's on the board. So you have to be very strategic with him. Like, I will only play him if they have like 2 to 3 cards in hand. It's really the only time where I feel like I can play him and win the game. Because we've seen it all the time. People play it too early and then they lock out their entire board, and it more often loses someone the game as opposed to winning them the game. That's what most secret rares do. So if you're smart with it, Vegeta is still very good CR. But he requires a lot of thought and a lot of sequencing.
Alrighty then. That was powerful. That was powerful. So, this is one of our longer videos. However, I do think that when it comes to the Rogue series, it's not just about seeing the cards, because a lot of the times when you see deck lists that aren't necessarily meta but are still performing, a lot of the player input and choices come into play more than anything else. So, that being said, while these are long, I'm sure that if you like just seeing lists just to see lists, these are the kind of videos that you like to gravitate towards. So, I would like to kind of go into the closing, because like this is almost podcast levels of length. But I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys got to see a leader that you normally don't see at your locals, you normally don't see on the online events, and see where it could have its merits. I hope that you might be inspired to come into the Discord and maybe just pitch me one of your own decks that's not as prevalent as, you know, red Broly, green Gotenks, dark Broly, things like that. So I would first like to thank Cedric for coming on the channel.
Thank you.
Giving us your insight was actually super crucial, and you broke down a lot of cards, and whether the cards were new from the set, whether they were old blast from the past, like whether they were just cards that, from Towa, they're all in here. Like there's a lot of there's a mix, and I think it's cool to see how those pieces come together. So thank you again for getting on the channel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. And with all this insight, I might have some podcast ideas later. There's gonna be some stuff we're gonna work on. But thanks for tuning in. Like I said before, if you guys like the content, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be in the same place 2 weeks from now, because I do have a Rogue Series 4 next week already lined up, just hit me up and we'll see what we can do. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you later, guys.